And we welcome you back to the Fitz here on this Thursday afternoon as we get set for the second game of the day for Post States as they will take on the Sioux Falls West Post 15 as we are set for baseball. No pregame show for you. We're going to get started pretty early here. We're almost 15 minutes ahead of schedule as Garrett Stout will step to the box. I thought maybe we were going to get the pregame show in here, Greg, as Greg Dean joins me. But we're ready for baseball. It is for Post State. Garrett Stout to lead things off. Emmingling is the pitcher for Sioux Falls West. He is on the mound, and he will deliver the first pitch as we're underway with a ball low for ball one that is at 12:45 local time, 1:45 Central Time here on this Thursday afternoon. And glad you could join us for some afternoon baseball. The 1-0, 2-0 to Garrett Stout.
Stout comes into the game hitting .411 coming into the day. We don't have his stats reflected from last game, but .411 leading the team in most offensive categories.
Stouts with a fly ball to right field. That one is back, and that one is a leadoff home run for Garrett Stouts. And Post State, with one swing of the bats, has a 1-0 lead here in the top of the first.
Yeah, and just a fastball that got up in the zone, and Stout just sat and crushed that one. I mean, this is a big park, 330 down the right field line, and then to top that off, that ball had to go over the fence. Here is about a 10-foot hard wood fence, and so that fence, probably makes you add another 20, 30 feet to it, and then on top of that, there's a second row of billboards, and Stout cleared that second row of billboards. And so that ball might have been 400 feet by the time it got all said and done.
I think he knew it as soon as he hit it, as he was a little slow out of the box to admire that shot that he had down out in right field, as it's 1-0 here for Post State. River Iverson tried to bunt his way on in that first pitch. He fouled it away. Here's the 0-1 pitch. There's a check swing, and it's missed low for ball one.
For Stout, his fifth home run of the year. 5 of the 11 home runs have come off the bat of Garrett Stout this year for Post State.
1-1 pitch. That one is outside now, 2-1. Here to the number 2 hitter in River Iverson. Wasted no time to get the party started here in game 2. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That one is at the knees, inside corner now, 2-2.
Iverson hitting .347 coming into the day. 25 hits and 72 at bats. He leads the team in being hit by pitches. Almost gets hit by one there. That curveball that did not break actually went right behind the head of River Iverson.
Yeah, if that one actually did break down, that would have plucked him rather easily. The count is now full here to Iverson. Went 0 for 1 in game number 1. He's 1 for 6 so far against Sioux Falls West this year. Here is the payoff pitch to Iverson. Way outside, and it's a walk, and the first 2 men have reached base for Andrew Coverdale, who will step to the plate looking for his first hit of the tournament. Nobody out here in the top of the first.
Coverdale coming into the day hitting .374, sharing the team lead in virtually every offensive category with Garrett Stout, and kind of what you would expect out of the 2 top offensive leaders for this team. 1, 2 in virtually every offensive category.
First pitch to Coverdale. Is that the letters, but just high for ball one.
And they have kind of taken over that mainstay role, even going back into last year. These two were just the top 2 hitters on the team last year. Again, no seniors on the team last year, so the team that we saw last year is almost identical to the team you see this year, with the addition of a few kids that had to come up from the junior legion level because of age or possibly work their way into the rotation. And so last year's team, 500, 21-21. This year, playing a little bit above that at 21-12 so far.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. That one is a swing and a miss by Coverdale. Iverson's going to get to second base. I thought maybe that Coverdale got a piece of it, but he did not. It's just it was a hit and run that was on, and Coverdale flung the bat at it, and Iverson is able to get to second as the ball went to the backstop.
Yeah, I kind of thought he did too. I thought he got a piece of that because it was a ball that was well into the left-hand batter's box, and Coverdale swing to protect the runner, Iverson going from first to second on the steal, and I thought he got a piece of it because it kind of the ball took almost I don't want to say a 90-degree angle as it skipped through the left-handed batter's box, but it did get to the backstop. Iverson's in safely, and And now Coverdale is sitting on a hitter's count at 2-2.
On deck is Andy Gordon. That's mostly the same lineup as in. A.J. Gaden is at third base instead of Lincoln Keenels, who played short in that game. Lincoln Keenels is on the mound here for Post State when we get to the bottom of the first. Here's a 2-2 pitch. There's a ground ball to the right side, and that's through the hole for a base hit. Iverson will be held up at third. It's a single for Andrew Coverdale, and there's runner in the corners with nobody out here at the top of the first inning, and that'll bring in Andy Gordon.
Yeah, just a sharply hit ground ball through the right side, but right to the right fielder who was playing fairly shallow. And because of that, Iverson was not able to come around third on the base hit. And now there's runners on the corners with nobody out, and the Eights have a nice rally going here in the top of the first.
So Iverson is on at third. Coverdale on at first. Here is Andy Gordon with nobody out. 2 for 3 in that last ball game. 4 for 6 so far against Sioux Falls West this year. Here's the first pitch from Hemingly to Gordon. Coverdale's off with the pitch. They'll foul that one back, Will Gordon, and it's 0-1. As we go around the horn defensively for Sioux Falls West, Billy Chatwell is out in the left field. Keaton Hartman in center. And then Graham Sanders in right. Connor Rissovy is at third. Michael Zimmerman is at short. Mitch Willis at second base. The first baseman is Dylan Aids. Then the catcher is Ethan Barron. And Hemingly trying to work out of this already stressful first inning, even though it's just a 1-0 lead so far for Post State. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Gordon. That one will bounce in, and it's now 1-1. Here's the number 4 hitter, cleanup hitter for Post State, and Andy Gordon.
We've got a good vantage point sitting right behind home plate, and you can just kind of see Ebeling coming out of the stretch. He kind of tends to fall off towards first base, and you can almost tell when he's able to if he's coming straight towards home, he will come straight over the top and come home. If he falls off towards first base, that ball tends to land in the left-handed batter's box.
The 1-1 pitch is a swing and a miss by Gordon. Coverdale is off for second. He gets thrown out at second, but coming home to score on the play was River Iverson. So it's now a 2-0 lead here for Post State. There's one down, and the bases are now empty. And it's a 1-2 count here to the first baseman, Andy Gordon. 1-2 pitch. That'll plunk Gordon, and he'll be on. And that's the 4th straight runner to reach base here to open up the ball game. Although Sioux Falls West has lucked into at least one out without having to retire them in the batting order. Here's McGuire Rasky, number 5 hitter. He'll be followed by Matt Lusk, Jack Van Camp, A.J. Gaten, and Kane Hinkle to round out the 9. For Post State, Lincoln Keenels is on the mound. Runner at first, that's Gordon. Here's the first pitch to McGuire Rasky. After a long pause from Ebbingly. That's taken for strike 1. Rasky went 0 for 3 in game number 1. Did not hit against Sioux Falls West, as just recently he's moved into the DH spot. Didn't want to use him until they found out what he was going to do, what they were going to do with the arm of McGuire Rasky. But looks like no surgery will be needed, although it'll be a long road back for him to pitch again. That was grounded to the right side and through the hole for another base hit. Third hit of the ball game now for Post State. First and second with one down. And that'll bring in Matt Lusk, as now all 5 guys have reached base, either by walk, base hit, or home run here in this top of the first inning.
Yeah, again, a sharply hit ground ball through the right side, and Andy Gordon had to hold up just a little bit to allow the ball to get past, and because of that, he was not able to make the turn at second, and so now the 8 runners first and second with one out after the sharply hit single by Rasky, and we'll see if they can continue to do damage with Matt Lusk coming to the plate. Lusk coming into the day hitting .279 on the year, 19 hits and 68 at bats. He's got a pair of doubles, a triple, the grand slam home run a couple weeks ago down in Brandon, and is near the top of the team with 17 RBIs on the year. If he could get a base hit, he could certainly add to that total.
He'll dig in. Ebbingly will come set. Here's the first pitch to the center fielder, Lusk. On the outside corner, taken for strike 1. Lusk went 2 for 2 in that first game with a double and a single. Him and Jack Van Camp both had 2 hits apiece in their 5 at-bats combined. against the Rapid City Post 320 shooters. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one will come in and plunk Lusk, and he is on first, and the bases are now loaded with one down.
And you can just kind of tell from a pitcher's body language that some days you have it and some days you don't. And after Ebeling had hit Gordon, he kind of kicked the dirt on the mound. You could tell he was frustrated. And after he just hit Matt Lusk, you could tell the first thing he did was he looked into the dugout, and that's never a good sign if you're a coach, because that's kind of almost an indication that the pitcher is certainly struggling and almost ready to throw in the towel and wave the white flag.
Here is Jack Van Camp. First pitch to him. A grounded foul to the first base dugout. And that one will just miss Lincoln Keenholz, who's going to go throw after it's been a somewhat of a long top of the first inning here. Almost 10 minutes long here at the top of the first. Looked like Jamie Legg was on his way down to warm up for Sioux Falls West. As that's, again, this is their first game of the tournament. 6 games here this weekend, and especially against a Class A South Dakota team, pitching-wise, there's still a lot of ball game left, but pitching-wise, that's the last thing you want to have happen is have somebody warm up in the bullpen in the top of the first.
Yeah, and a big at-bat here. If you really are looking for Jack Van Camp to do something positive, even if it's a ground ball out onto the right side, just something to get that third run across the plate here in the top of the first.
Here is the 1-1 pitch. That one is inside. Maybe a touch high as well. 2-1 the count now to Jack Van Camp. Bases are loaded here with one down in the top of the first. It is Gordon at third, Rasky at second, and Matt Lusk at first. A.J. Gayton is on deck. Here's the 2-1 from Emily to the right fielder, Jack Van Camp. That one is at the letters now, 2-2. And the last thing you want in this at-bat is to not put the ball in play. Outside of a walk, you have to find a way to put the ball in play somewhere, somehow.
Stay out of the double play.
Emily Lee will come from the stretch. Here's the 2-2. That one's outside now, 3-2, and he's going to come in the strike zone. Otherwise, he's going to walk in the third run of the ball game here in the top of the first.
Yeah, and certainly not the start that you were hoping for Sioux Falls West. I'm sure the coaching staff over across the way is a little frustrated by this start. They certainly had hoped to get out a little faster than this.
3-2. Van Camp will skate out of play on the right side, and we'll do it again. And a good job by Van Camp, stayed alive. Emily is running that pitch count up quickly here in the top of the first, and I would assume that they are going to probably pull him sooner rather than later, even if he does get out of this with minimal damage, to maybe just say, hey, we're going to save you, try and get you to come back on Sunday. Here's the 3-2. Instead, they're going to check the runner at second. No throw as Rasky dives back in safely.
Ebeling nearing 30 pitches so far here in the top of the first, and so far has only recorded one out.
Here's the 3-2 to Jack Van Camp. That one's popped up on the left side. It will get out into left field. The left fielder, Chatwell, will make the catch. Tagging and not trying to score is Gordon. And a good, strong throw from Chatwell as the second out, and the bases will remain loaded for A.J. Gayton, who had himself a magnificent performance from the mound. Not strikeout-wise, but just efficient-wise. 72 pitches for a complete game shutout in 7 innings. That's a rarity to barely, have. Well, you're throwing less than 11 pitches an inning. You're throwing 10.2 pitches an inning. I mean, that's impressive to do. That doesn't happen very often, especially in today's baseball. First pitch to A.J. Gayton will bounce at the dirt, and a good stop there from the catcher, Barron, and it's 1-0.
And with 2 out, this becomes a big at bat for the Eights. You really don't want to leave the bases loaded here in the top of the first, even though you've scored 2 runs. You really want to, while you've got the opportunity, you want to make this top of the first hurt, and especially with a team that Post 8 has split with already this year.
Emily from the stretch. Here's the 1-0. That one is inside off the glove of Barry, but not far enough away for Gordon to try and score. It's now in 2-0 count to A.J. Gayton. On deck is the number 9 hitter in Cade Hinkle. Love for him to come up to the plate here in this first inning, which means that at least a third run will score, if not more, if Gayton can find a gap somewhere. Here's the 2-0 pitch to A.J. Gayton. That one is over for strike one at the letters. You find a gap, the speed of Lusk, and how deep it is out in the corner, out in the gaps. All 3 runs could score on a double or even a triple from Gaden. So there's a lot of empty space, a lot of empty green out there. 2-1. That one is at the knees and is now 2-2. And A.J. Gaden tilted his head back in disagreement with that call.
Didn't get a chance to share AJ's offensive numbers with you in game number 1. Comes in hitting .328 on the year, 22 hits and 67 at bats. His 23rd game of the year for Post 8.
2-2 pitch. Gaden will shoot the gap out in left center field. That one's going to get down, and 2 runs are going to score. Matt Lusk will round third. He's going to try and score. The throw will be cut off by the shortstop. It's a 3-run double for A.J. Gaden, and it's a 5-0 lead for Post 8 here in the top of the first.
And just what the doctor ordered was a bases clearing double with 2 outs, and I tell you what, that's a huge hit for A.J. Gaden. And now if you're Post 8, what you really need to do is just make sure you keep your foot on the gas, because you don't want to let up. Now, even though you've got this 5-run lead, the worst thing that can happen is allow that momentum to shift and allow Sioux Falls West to get back into this game. And so you just got to keep hitting the ball and get good defense and good pitching.
As we have a mound visit here for Sioux Falls West, and we want to remind you that you're listening to KCCR Pierre, a Riverfront broadcasting station. As I believe maybe it's Dan Hughes that is out there to talk with the starting pitcher and Jacob Ebbingley, who has given up 5 runs here in the top of the first inning. It all started by a leadoff home run by Garrett Stout, and has concluded to this point with a 3-run double from A.J. Gaden, but it's not over yet. Cade Hinkle with a base hit could drive in Gaden, and they already have a handful, make it a handful plus 1 with a base hit from Hinkle. 5 runs on 4 hits so far for Post 8. Here's the first pitch from Ebbingley to Hinkle. First pitch is missed low for ball 1. And I would say, Greg, that although Stout hit that big home run to lead off the top of the first inning, got everything going, but that A.J. Gaden double is a much bigger hit and a more timely hit than what Stout had.
Yeah, I mean, just coming in that 2-out, anytime you can get a 2-out RBI, that's really big. But to get 3 2-out RBIs, that's huge, and really puts some separation between Post 8 and Sioux Falls West right now.
Count is 1-1 to Hinkle as he swings and misses that pitch. Just past that 2 o'clock hour back at the capital city. 1 o'clock local time here in Rapid City. The 1-1 pitch from Ebbingley to Hinkle. That one will come in and hit Hinkle. And that's the 3rd hit by pitch in the inning. Second hit by pitch in the inning, and that's going to do it for Ebbingley. He's not going to make it out of the top of the first. He faced all 9 guys, but his first and second here for Garrett Stout. He's going to have his second chance. He can go deep in the same inning. As we'll have a pitching change. We'll step aside for a minute, tell you what the changes are. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Fitzgerald, as Post 8 leads 5-0 here in the top of the first inning. Garrett Stout is back up to the plate. Jamie Legg is on the pitch for Sioux Falls West. And Stout has a chance to probably do what it would be interesting to go back in the record books to see if any Post 8 players hit 2 home runs in 1 inning. And he's got a chance as he steps to the plate, led off the top of the first on a 2-0 count, hit a home run, and Greg, we might see him try for that 2 home runs in 1 inning with a 5-0 lead already and 2 runners on base. He's looking for RBIs 2, 3, and 4 here. First pitch, that one is at the knees for strike 1.
Sioux Falls West comes into this game sitting 11th in the PowerPoint standings, 8-12 on the year versus South Dakota Class A teams. So we talked about the importance of this game, but with Post 8 sitting in 4th place, they can ill afford to lose any game to a South Dakota team, let alone to a team that's behind them in the standings.
Count is 1-1 here to Garrett Stout. Leg will come set from the stretch. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Curveball that misses upstairs. Didn't break, and it's now 2-1. So the run rules, as Coach Nas said, it's 15 after 3 and 10 after 5. So there's the only thing that's different than a normal Legion game is that you can get a 15-run lead here and win after 3 innings. 2-1 pitch. That one catches the inside corner, is now 2-2.
And potentially this game could set up a preview of a first round playoff matchup. I mean, Pierre sitting in that 4 spot right now, but if they hang in that 4, 5, 6 spot and Sioux Falls West stays in that same place in the order, they potentially could be a first round matchup for Sioux Falls West to come to Pierre later on this month.
Stout lines it into right field for a base hit. He's going to get his second RBI of the inning. Doesn't go deep, but he's 2 for 2 so far with 2 runs driven in. Hinkle gets third. And as runners in the corners here, Post 8 makes it a 6-0 lead, as it'll be River Iverson, who walked in his first plate appearance. If he gets a base hit, we put a touchdown up on the board for Post 8. And that's more of a Pierre Governor football team scoring a touchdown before the other team gets a chance to score.
We saw that happen a number of times last fall, didn't we, John?
Well, a number of times is almost an understatement how many times we saw that team score. They broke a record for most points in for the entire state in a season. 1 pitch is taken for strike 1 to River Iverson.
Yeah, and at some point you gotta wonder if Coach White will not start Garrett Stout over at first base, and either in a straight steal or a potential hit and run situation, and try to get him also into scoring position and try to add to this lead.
1-0 is there. 0-1 is popped up in the left field. Coming over is the left fielder Chatwell. He'll make the catch and retire the side. But Post 8 scores 6 times in the top of the first inning. 6 runs on 5 hits, no errors, 2 men left on base. After a half inning, 6-0 lead here for the 8s as Sioux Falls West will come to the plate. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back to the Fitzgerald, it is a 6-0 lead for Post 8 as we go to the bottom of the first inning. Lincoln Keenels is starting against Sioux Falls West here in the second game of the doubleheader for Post 8. They will play this game, and then they'll be off until tomorrow night at 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock. They will play those 2 games against the Billings, Montana team, and then Post 22 Hard Hats. That will be 7 Central and around 9 o'clock, so it's going to be a pretty late night out here. Well, I guess maybe not so much out here as it will be for everybody back home in Central Time. But Post 8 looking to go 2-0 after starting out 1-0 and beating an 8-0 win over the Rapid City Post 320 Shooters. Lincoln Keenels is on the mound. Billy Chatwell will lead things off. There's a second time we're seeing Keenels throw this year. The first pitch is fouled straight back to the screen, and it's 0-1.
Keenels coming into the game, his second appearance of the year, through 3 innings last weekend down in Humboldt against West Central. 3 innings, has a 0.0 ERA, did not allow a run, a hit, or a walk. 3 strikeouts in that appearance for Lincoln Keenholz.
0-1 misses upstairs now, 1-1. Yeah, he has he retired all 9 batters that he faced in that ball game. The 1-1 pitch, that one's popped up on the infield between right around second base, and the shortstop Stout will take it on the right side of second, away from Coverdale. The leadoff man is retired here in the bottom of the first. Going to bring up Mitch Willis, the second baseman. He'll be followed by Ethan Barron, the catcher. Dylan Aids, the first baseman, will bat fourth. Keaton Hartman, the center fielder, batting fifth. The DH, Matt Peters, will bat sixth. Connor Rissovy, the third baseman, batting seventh. Graham Sanders, the right fielder, batting eighth. And Michael Zeman will round out the order, batting ninth, as the first pitch is over for strike one. Plus, who comes in 2 for 4 against Post 8 in that doubleheader where they split back at Hyde Stadium back in June. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one will miss low, 1-1.
Yeah, Keenholz looks pretty comfortable right now, at least early on in this first inning. Looks like he's got a good command of his fastball, and arm looks pretty loose. So hopefully that bodes well for Post 8 through the rest of this game.
1-1 is a foul into the third base dugout after it got through both Barron and Aids over at the left side. They're both staying outside the dugout and went through both their hands and into the dugout. 1-2 pitch from Keenholz to Willis. That one's popped up on the right side. It's going to get toward the dugout, and it's going to go in the dugout. And I believe the Post 8, whoever was down there, also missed that foul ball.
Both Hinkle and Gordon giving chase, and unfortunately just ran out of real estate over there by the Post 8 dugout.
Count remains at 1-2 here with one down in the bottom of the first. Here comes the 1-2 pitch again from Keenholz. Curveball that misses upstairs, 2-2. And A.J. Gaden, we're going to talk about him again, and we'll probably talk about him all weekend just because that first game, and here for Sioux Falls West, you've already had to make a pitching change at the top of the first. As a 2-2 will be a swing and a miss, and there's a strikeout, and there's now 2 down. That'll bring up Ethan Barron. But you have the first pitcher in game 1 of the tournament sets the tone for the rest of the pitching staff. And I think now the competitive nature in Keenholz, and then the pitchers tomorrow, probably Dean as well as Van Camp, and into Sunday, maybe Booth will pitch as well. All these guys, they're competitive guys, and they don't want to be the one guy that doesn't throw well. And Gaden has set the tempo and set the tone for this tournament by throwing 72 pitches and getting a complete game shutout, as it counted as 1-1 to Barron.
Yeah, Keenholz has split some time with the Junior Legion team for Post 8 this year. He's actually thrown twice down at the Junior Legion level, 2 appearances, 13 innings down there, a 2.69 ERA, and he has 1-0 down there. So when Keenholz has had an opportunity to pitch at some point, either for the Junior Legion or the varsity level this year, he's been effective. Here's
the 2-1 pitch to Barron. That one's out towards right field. Van Camp will shade to his left. He'll take a couple steps back, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Lincoln Keenholz here in the first. We've played one full inning. Post 8 has a 6-0 lead over West. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Top of the second inning, it is a 6-0 lead here for the Eights, as it will be 3, 4, and 5. Coverdale, Gordon, and Rasky. If anybody reaches base, it'll be Matt Lusk. This is their second time through the order. 11 guys came to the plate in the top of the first. 6 guys that came around to score. And for Post State, want to do more of the same here. The way you're looking at right now, if you kind of average this out and maybe score another 6 runs here, then you set yourself up to potentially even win this game in 3 innings. If you see these trends continue in the second and third inning, you can make this a quick game, and even then you could maybe save Keenol's then for have his pitch count low enough where he could come back on Sunday.
Yeah, and again, quick games, shutouts, just help you as you get deeper into this tournament. Whether that's with the pool play record or with your tiebreaker potentially depending upon how that comes into play.
Count is 1-1 here to Andrew Coverdale to lead off the top of the second inning. 1-1 pitch. There's a ground ball to the left side. That one is past a diving Zeman at short, and it's another base hit for Andrew Coverdale. He is now 2 for 2 to open up the ball game. And I'll bring in Andy Gordon, who was hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance.
Yeah, and we talked about the tiebreakers in game number 1, but the first tiebreaker is head-to-head record, which you would make sense in most tie-breaking scenarios. The second one is runs allowed per 7 innings. So not just composite runs allowed, but if you get into a 5-inning game, for example, you have to factor in those number of innings, and so it kind of does begin to be a little bit of a piece of gamesmanship once you get down, especially if you do have a shortened game by the 15 or potentially 10 run rule.
As Andy Gordon, yeah, that's true, because that 15 runs in 3 innings turns into a lot more through 7. That one's grounded to the third base line, and it just hops to the left side of the bag before it goes over the bag, and it's now 0-2. Gordon had himself an infield hit if that one stayed fair. Coach White threw his arms up at first thinking, oh boy, that looked like it was going to be hopping right over the line, but the 6-0 lead, that's one where he's going to throw his arms up and then put him back down and say, well, got to calm down just a little bit here. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That one's outside, and it's now 1-2.
Yeah, that ball was a one hop ground ball right down the third base line. Actually landed just fair, about 15, 20 feet in front of the third base bag, and just kind of skipped foul just before it crossed the third base bag, and the umpire right on top of the play came out from behind the plate and was right on the line when he made the call.
And in a 6-5 game in the 6th inning, probably see maybe Coach White get a little bit more up in arms as the 1-2 pitch misses inside. Coverdale was all with the pitch, and there was no throw. He'll take it easily standing up. And there's a runner in score position here for Andy Gordon with the 2-2 count here in the top of the second inning with nobody out.
Yeah, that pitch almost hit Gordon. Would have been his second hit by pitch this game.
Gordon will foul the 2-2 pitch back, and it remains even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. I'm sure you probably know this trivia because it's such a unique thing, and we kind of talk about hitting 2 home runs in 1 inning. But there's only one time has there been ever 2 grand slams in 1 inning hit by someone, and as the 2-2, that one's fouled off the mask of the umpire, and it remains at 2-2. Can you tell me who it is?
Oh, I've heard it. I know it. Was it Mark Whitten? Was it?
It was not
Bob Horner.
It was not Bob Horner.
Oh, it was not Bob Horner. Okay.
It happened in the. Let's see. I think it's.
Did it have something to do with the St. Louis Cardinal?
It did. Oh. It actually did. Yes. It's either, I don't know if it was 1999 or what year it was exactly, but it's been within my lifetime. I was able to witness it.
Yeah, like I said, when you say it, I know I'm going to say, oh, yeah, absolutely.
We'll draw it out for a little bit.
Okay.
We'll let's see if anybody sends me a Facebook message or tweets at me. The 2-2 pitch is outside 3-2. Tell me who it is. That's hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning. And if my dad is listening, he is ineligible to play because he knows that answer. I know that he knows that answer, and he's not going to win. I'm not going to say that he wins. So Leg will come set from the stretch. You
may get a message from Kai Weingart. I know he's listening, celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday, Kai!
Your son knows who it is, and you don't.
Oh, well.
Bradley sent me the tweet as Gordon will foul it off. He stays alive. Bradley's the first one to get to me. Fernando Tatis.
Okay.
Oops. And then our board op, Spencer Kelly, he knows the answer. He probably Googled that. Do you think Bradley Googled it too?
I don't know. He might have that firmly entrenched in his memory bank.
The 3-2 pitch. That one will hit Gordon on the shoulder, and he's on for the second time, being hit by a pitch, and is now first and second. Wears down leg enough where leg ends up hitting him, and it's now first and second here with nobody out. Well, congratulations, Bradley. I owe you a soda. Next time I see you, I'll buy you a soda for it.
Looking across the crowd, I see Mason Archambault from sitting in the crowd today. If you're a Pierre Governor basketball fan, that name will be in your memory banks. Archambault, star basketball player, standout with Rapid City Stevens, went on to play a couple of years at Gillette Community College and has just recently committed to finish his collegiate career down at USD. So it'll be interesting to watch the Stevens product down at USD this coming year.
As Rasky will show bunt, he'll bunt it down towards the third base line. Fielded by leg. The throw to first is in time. Rasky is out at first. And it's now one down with runners at second and third. Rasky was an inch away from having an infield single and having the bases loaded.
Boy, everybody in the Pierre dugout, including Nathan Nas, the first base coach, signaled safe, and the only one who thought he was out was the field umpire, and he was very emphatic in his call. And so Nas was looking for an appeal down to the home plate umpire, and the field umpire was having nothing of it.
First pitch to Matt Lusk is over for strike one. He was hit by a pitch. He's part of three guys that got hit by a pitch by the starter in Jacob Ebbingley, as the 0-1 is outside now, 1-1. Coverdale on at third base, Gordon out at second, and Bradley is very disappointed that I'm going to buy him a soda. I think I got to buy him something different. I think an adult beverage will be the what I owe him now. The 1-1 pitch is fouled out of play. It's now 1-2.
This is a big at bat for Post State. Again, even though you're up 6-0, you really don't want to squander any scoring opportunity here with two runners in scoring position, second and third, and one out here in the top of the second.
Here comes the 1-2 pitch. There's a ground ball to the left side, fielded by the third baseman. The throw the plate is not picked by the catcher, and it's a 7-0 lead here for Post State in the top of the second, as Matt Lusk will reach on the fielder's choice, and they're going to give an error to the third baseman on the throw. And it's a 7-0 lead now here for the Eights, with still a runner in scoring position on at third.
Yeah, Ricevy over at third base. Hard hit ground ball from Lusk, and just a one hopper Coverdale off on the pitch. And Ricevy probably would have gunned him down, but probably had actually a little time. Could have made a little better throw short hop the catcher, and the catcher Barron was not able to come up with it, and so the Eights get a run on the fielder's choice in the throwing error.
First pitch to Jack Van Camp is over for strike one. One down here in the top of the second. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Van Camp swings and misses, and it's now 0-2. Van Camp flew out to the left fielder in his first at-bat. Now 2 for 4 here in the Veterans Classic. Post State will be off for over 24 hours after this ball game concludes, before they play it at 6 o'clock local time. The 0-2 is a swing and a miss, and Van Camp goes down on 3 pitches. And they'll bring in A.J. Gaden, who's got a chance to drive in his 4th run with a base hit. Drove in 3 runs on the double in the top of the first inning, which made it a part of a 6-0 lead. Now 7-0 here for Post State. First pitch to Gaden. That one will miss inside for ball 1.
You got to figure that Lusk will be off from first early in this count, trying to get into scoring position, and at the very least potentially draw the throw in hopes of getting Gordon home from third.
Runners are at the corners here with 2 down in the top of the second. Leg will come set. Here is the 1-0 pitch. That one is over the corner now, 1-1. Gaden.
really seen much on the inside corner, but the home plate umpire is very, very willing to call that outside corner, even a little bit off that outside corner.
1-1 pitch is upstairs. The throw will go to second base. It'll go off of Lust, and in to score is Andy Gordon. It's now 8-0. And Sioux Falls West caught a break, because if that doesn't hit Matt Lust, that goes into center field, and he's probably at third base instead of sitting at second.
Yeah, and probably some miscommunication there on the play. The catcher Barron kind of threw right over the top of the pitcher leg and kind of didn't throw. I mean, he didn't throw with the velocity you would expect on a straight steal, and so I think Barron was kind of thinking that leg was going to intercept the pitch or intercept the throw and hold Gordon at third, but the throw went through, and like you said, it unfortunately for Post 8, it hit Lusk in the helmet, and because of that, he ended up having to stay at second.
Gaden will float it out to right field on the 2-1 pitch, and the right fielder Sanders will glide to his left to make the catch and retire the side. 2 more runs scored, though, in the inning on 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 man left on base. After an inning and a half, Post 8 has an 8-0 lead over Sioux Falls West. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Bottom of the second inning, Post 8, they lead 8-0. Lincoln Keenels will deal with 4, 5, and 6. Dylan Aids, Keaton Hartman, and Matt Peters. First pitch misses low for ball 1. Here in the bottom of the second, 8-0 lead, 8 runs, 6 hits, no errors. Matt Peters, first pitch misses low for ball 1. Here in the bottom of the second, 8-0 lead, 8 runs, 6 hits, no errors for Post 8. No runs, no hits, 1 error so far for Sioux Falls West. The 1-0 pitch, that one will miss now, 2-0. Dylan Aids 3 for 5 against Post 8 so far here in that first game. There's a ball down the third base line, and that is fair, and that'll be an extra base hit to kick off the bottom of the second. Aids will round first. He will head into second standing up, and it's a leadoff double for Sioux Falls West to kick off the bottom of the second. Round first. He will head into second standing up, and it's a leadoff double for Sioux Falls West to kick off the bottom of the second.
First base runner of the year allowed by Lincoln Keenholz after going 4+ innings of perfect pitching so far, but the first hit allowed, first base runner allowed.
Here is Keaton Hartman, the center fielder, as Keenholz will work for the stretch for the first time as a senior Legion pitcher. First pitch, swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. Because even when he came into the game back on Saturday, he was able to throw from the windup because the bases were loaded when he came in. So even with guys on base, he still had worked from the stretch. So from the windup. Here's the first time he's working from the stretch, and it's quickly 0-2 here to Hartman, the center fielder. And so far, it looks like Keenholz is not nervous to throw an off-speed pitch of any kind at any count, as he now has an 0-2 count here to Hartman. He'll come set from the stretch. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Check swing, and he had got to go, and he does, and he will strike out Will Hartman, and there's one down. That was one where the base umpire probably shouldn't have had to been asked, but because he was, it's an easy one for him to say that he did swing. And there's the second strikeout of the ball game for Keenholz. And
being up 8-0 gives you a little more latitude to throw your off-speed pitch at pretty much any point in the count. And when you've got that kind of a lead, and the way the Eights have been playing defense, no errors in the first game and no errors through the first inning and a third in this game. He's got good defense going behind him, so you're just able to just kind of rear back and and just let it fire right now.
Keenholz comes set, the 1-0 pitch. That one's popped up in foul territory on the right side. Hinkle moving over. He'll make the catch as he juggled it, but he's able to make the catch, and there's now 2 down. And good thing that didn't go into his jersey. Otherwise, it would not have counted as an out. As Connor Rissovy will step to the plate, the third baseman, looking for his first hit against Post State in his 7th trip to the plate here for Sioux Falls West.
You tagged me on a Twitter video yesterday from the Korean Baseball Organization where that happened.
The first pitch misses low for ball 1. Yeah, it was a line drive right back to the pitcher, and he ended up going into his jersey. He had the button-up jersey, so went into his jersey. And because you can't trap, you have to make the catch. You can't just, you can't fall into your pant leg or into your jersey or whatever. You can't catch with your hat. I don't know if anybody would ever want to try and do that, but it ended up going to his jersey, and so he's acted like he grabbed it like that with his bare hand and say, "Hey, I grabbed it," but the umpires quickly called time and had everybody go to their respective bases, and it was a base hit for that guy. The 2-0 pitch, that one just misses. Now 3-0 to Connor Rissovy.
Yeah, and so let's visit a little bit about Lincoln Keenholz again, showing some good velocity and some ability to control the strike zone, and again, if you can pick up another arm, even though we know Keenholz has had some success pitching down on the junior legion level, if you can get some innings out of him going into the postseason and just bolster that bullpen. Again, that's just one more luxury, one more arm that you've got for Coach White and Coach Nas to play with come playoff time.
First pitch to Graham Sanders is over for strike 1. It was a 4-pitch walk to Rissovy. Here's Graham Sanders, his first plate appearance of the ball game here in the bottom of the second with 2 outs. Runners at first and second. 8-0 lead here for Post State. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one is over on the outside corner, now 0-2. Sanders went 3 for 6 in those 2 games. As Keenholz is looking to get out of this bottom of the second. Here is the 0-2 pitch. Check swing and a foul to the first base dugout off the netting, and it remains at 0-2.
And just looking at the Post State stat sheet, you've got at least nine members of this roster that have thrown at least 13 innings, and then if you could add Keenholz to that would give you 10. That would be a pretty well stocked pitching staff going into the postseason. And
it's incredible too that you don't have 2 of those top guys in Gray Zabel and McGuire Rasky to throw the rest of the year. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That one is a floater to the right side, fielded by Coverdale. Underhand flip to Gordon at first and in time to retire the side. And Post State will get another 0 here in the bottom of the second. 8-0 is our score. Post State leads after 2 innings. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Top of the third inning, 8-0 is the lead here for Post State, as it will be 9-1-2. As Garrett Stout, he will hit for the third time to lead in the number 2 hitter in this inning, as Hinkle will line the first pitch into right field, right center field. That's down for a base hit, and it's going to roll towards the wall. Hinkle around second. He will take the turn and have a long stop at second. The throw is coming to third base, so Hinkle is able to retreat back to second without a play. And it's a leadoff double for Cade Hinkle. The second time he's reached base here in this ball game. And that'll bring in Garrett Stout, who's already 2 for 2 with 2 runs driven in, a home run and a base hit, and that came back in the first inning.
Hinkle sitting fastball on the first pitch and just barreled that pitch up, and the Sioux Falls West outfielders were able to corral it before it got all the way to the warning track. But Hinkle, had he not stopped, and he was on the way to third base before Coach White put the stop sign up, but he was about a third of the way to the third base and probably had a good shot at possibly getting all the way to third. But again, the old baseball adage, you don't want to make the first or third out at third base, and so Coach White plays it safe.
The first pitch to Stout has popped up on the infield, and the pitcher leg will come towards the first base bag to make the catch. And there is one down here in the top of the third, and that'll bring in River Iverson. Here with one out, top of the third, 8-0 is our score. Post State looking to go 2-0 here today. And they're at the Rapid City Veterans Classic, hosted by Post 22 and Post 320. Iverson shows bunt, pulls it back, and it's taken for ball one.
In between innings, John and I were talking about the new addition to the Summit League and St. Thomas, University of St. Thomas out of the Twin Cities coming, getting a waiver from the NCAA and allowing them to make the jump straight from Division III straight to Division I. So big addition to the Summit League and probably causes some some reconfigurations and some meetings internally down at Augustana here in the next couple of days.
Here's the 1-1 pitch to Iverson that misses outside, 2-1. And we kind of mentioned too that I was stunned about it, but as Greg has said too, that St. Thomas is a growing school that's got the qualities of being a Division I program. Not that Augie doesn't, as the 2-1 is missed, now 3-1, but they're one that Division III to Division I jump is not so out of the blue as maybe others might have in a Division III school.
Yeah, pretty good sized enrollment up at St. Thomas and a big endowment. In addition to the fact that now St. Thomas becomes just the second, just the second Division I university in the state of Minnesota, and gives the Summit a footprint up in the Twin Cities, up into that Minneapolis media market. So yeah, probably an astute move, and now probably I did see one of the local media guys in Sioux Falls say that maybe Augustana's best chance is possibly to pair with a school like Northern Colorado to gain entry into the Summit.
Hinkle is off of the pitch to third. Iverson will come around we get a base hit, and Hinkle will come around to score. The throw misses the first baseman, aids by a lot, and then Iverson will take second on the throwing error. It's an RBI base hit for River Iverson. He's at second on the air, and Post State leads now 9-0 here in the top of the third inning.
Yeah, line drive for Iverson up into the right center field gap was gloved by Hartman, and as the throw came in, I'm not quite sure where Hartman was throwing that ball, because it didn't come into second base. Looked like almost he was throwing it to Dylan Aids, the first baseman, who really wasn't even in a cutoff position, and the throw skipped past him and got all the way to the backstop, and with that, Iverson ends up at second base, and again, the Eights have scored in every inning in this game, and now have a rally going here.
As the first pitch misses upstairs to Andrew Coverdale, as leg will come set here. The 1-0 is over for strike one, now 1-1. Yeah, Aids would be the cutoff man on a play at the plate, but because Hinkle was off the pitch and went in the outfield, he knew that there was going to be no play at home, but Hartman decided to try and throw it towards the cutoff man that would be at home, and it's now 1-2 to Coverdale. Instead of throwing it just to second base and conceding that run to make it a 9-0 lead for Post State, ends up putting Iverson in a scoring position on the wild throw. Andy Gordon's on deck. Here's the 1-2 pitch from leg to Coverdale. That one will bounce to get away from the catcher in Barron, and over to third will be Iverson. And it's now a runner on third with a 2-2 count to Coverdale. A chance to drive in, which would put Post State up 10-0. And again, it's 15 after 3 and 10 after 5. So just because Post State would take a 10-0 lead here, and get a 0 in the third inning, we'd still have to play into the fourth and potentially in the fifth, barring more runs scored by Post State, as that one is
fouled away, now 2-2. But we know from having watched Sioux Falls West earlier in the year, we know that they can hit the ball. And so you would hope that a 9-10 run lead would be safe, but I don't think anything is safe until the final out is recorded. That one's fouled out of play again, and it's now 2-2. And yeah, really to just keep piling on runs and don't say, well, we got 10, now we can just hold them and get to the fifth inning, and then we'll be able to go home and get the win. If it's a 10-0 win, that's going to be pretty impressive from Post State, and one that I don't really expect out of this ball game, that Sioux Falls West doesn't score at least one run. As Coverdale chops the 2-2 pitch again, and it remains at 2-2 after the foul ball. Yeah, because we've seen Sioux Falls West about, well, probably a little over a month ago now. That was a line shot, and that passed the jumping shortstop of Zeman and into left field, and it's now a 10-0 ball game as Andrew Coverdale is now 3 for 3 with 3 hits, and he drives in River Iverson, his first RBI of the ball game, and that'll bring in Andy Gordon. And for Sioux Falls West at this point, you probably think, well, Leg, you got to go out and throw 105 pitches or get out of this and whatever it takes, whatever comes first, I should say, because they can't afford to burn another pitcher here in game 1 of the 6-game tournament. Yeah, and Leg, even though this is just his second full inning of work, is already at close to 50 pitches, and so when you get into these long innings, they just really drive your pitch count up, and so even though he's pitching here in the top of the third, he's halfway to his maximum, and at this rate, he would not even be able to finish into the 7th inning, even though he'd be the second pitcher of the day for Post 15 West. There's a ground ball. That one's actually going to go off the glove of the second baseman as Coverdale was bailing out to allow that double play to start to be turned, and the second baseman and Willis just handled the throw, and it's another error by Sioux Falls West, and it's now first and second. That'll go down as an error to the second baseman and Willis, and that'll bring up McGuire Rasky. Yeah, just a tailor-made ground ball to Zeman at short, and quick flip to Willis over at second base. Willis just took his eye off the ball, trying to get the turn and try to retire Gordon at first base. And like you said, Coverdale actually was bailing out of the play. It was probably a step or two to the outfield side of the baseline, and was able to come around and circle around the play and able to get back on second base. And so again, the Eight's got something going here. Count is 0-2 here to McGuire Rasky. As for Sioux Falls West, Leg will come set. Here is the 0-2 pitch. Rasky, that's in the right center field. That's down for a base hit. Coverdale around third. He's going to come around to score. The third is Andy Gordon. The throw will come in. That's going to skip away. Gordon's going to take off for home. He hesitated. Now he's going to go back to third. After that hesitation, that was a smart move by Gordon to retreat back to third base. But Rasky will take then second on the throw, and it's an RBI single from McGuire Rasky. He is now 2 for 2 in the ball game. Yeah, and just one of those days when nothing's going right for Sioux Falls West. Every throw becomes an adventure, and a play that Gordon, could have been really close as he went from second to third on the play, ends up just again a ball that the third baseman Risovi should have probably caught and skipped away from him, and luckily for Post 15 West that it didn't end up doing more damage, because right now a run did score on the hit by Rasky. Eights are up 11-0, and they have two runners in scoring position, second and third, one out here in the top of the third. Here is Matt Lusk, the 7th man to come to the plate, number 6 man in the order. Be Lusk and Van Camp here with one down. Runners at second and third. Here's the first pitch from Leg to Matt Lusk. That one misses low for ball 1. So for Post State, they have an 11-0 lead on 10 hits here in the ball game. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That one will hit the knees, now 1-1.
And for Coach White, you're hoping that this is the start of this team putting a lot of runs together in a lot of games, because we're down the stretch, and losses, you can't afford many more losses the rest of the way. 1-1 pitch, that's to the right side. That's through for a base hit, and it's now 12-0 as the Rasky will stop at third on the RBI single from Matt Lusk, and going the other way with it is a Post State, and that's what you love to see as well.
Yeah, just a ground ball. Just not especially a hard hit, but well placed and just past the reach of the second baseman. But again, not real well hit out into right field. Brasky not able to get a good enough lead off of second base, and so now the Eights have runners on the corners, and we got a mound visit from the Post 15 coaching staff.
A dozen runs on the scoreboard here for Post States. They lead 12-0. Jack Van Camp will come to the plate with runners at the corners with one down. A.J. Gaden, he'll wait on deck as he'd be the number 9 man to come to the plate in this inning. And there is action in the bullpen. Saw somebody go down towards the bullpen in left field for Post 15 West, and I didn't catch the number. And then there is no possible way. If you don't see them walk down there, you don't know that they're back there, because you can't see anything in the left field bullpen.
Yeah, you can't see either one of the bullpens here at Fitzgerald Stadium. Looks like now we've got two more players for West going down to the bullpen, but the left field bullpen is obstructed by an equipment shed, and the right field bullpen is obstructed by, at least from the press box, a row of shrubs and hedges. So unless you see somebody running down there from the dugout, there's no way to tell who's actually throwing in the bullpen.
Count is 1-0 here to Jack Van Camp. The 1-0 pitch is over for strike one. Van Camp's 0 for 2. He flew out to left field and struck out. He's the only guy in the lineup right now that does not have a base hit. I guess Andy Gordon doesn't either, but he's been on base all 3 times. He's come to the plate. He's been hit twice. He hasn't got a hit. And now Jack Van Camp is hit. So the bases are now loaded here with one down. And here's A.J. Gaden. Same spot he came up, except there's 2 outs in the top of the first, but with the bases loaded. And A.J. Gaden, who is 1 for 2 with 3 runs driven in. Chance to potentially put Post State up by that 15-run rule here in the top of the third.
Yeah, and that would be, if he could duplicate that bases clearing double out of the first inning, that would be huge for Post State. Possibly only have to play potentially have to play a 3-inning game.
Here comes the first pitch to A.J. Gaden. He'll fly that out towards left center field. That's going to hang up enough for the center fielder to make the catch. All 3 runners will tag, and a run scores on the RBI sac fly from A.J. Gaden. And the wind blowing in. If that one's blowing out, I don't think it's going to get out of here, but it's probably in the gap, and all 3 runs are probably scored. Right now it's a baker's dozen for Post State, up 13-0.
Yeah, and again, with the fly ball deep enough, allowing all 3 runners to tag and move up a base. Again, now you've got 2 runners in scoring position. 2, if Hinkle can deliver a base hit with 2 outs, Matt.
They're going to say tired, which that means that run should come off the board as well, and it'll only be a 12-0 lead for Post State. But they do strike at least 4 runs in that inning, does the Eights, as it is 4 runs on 5 hits in the inning. There were 2 errors committed one error committed by Sioux Falls West, and 1 man left on base. We have played 2.5. It is a 12-0 lead here for Post State. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. So take the run off the board as is now a 12-0. Instead is a 12-0 lead here for Post State as we play here in the bottom of the third inning. 8-9-1. First pitch to Graham Sanders is fouled down the third base line because.
Go ahead. I'm trying to read up on that rule and trying to figure out if the run counts or not.
Something new at the ballpark every single time you show up. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one's upstairs now, 1-1. As the run scored on the sac fly, but it was out at second base on the appeal, which should nix the runner because it is the third out of the inning. The 1-1 is upstairs now, 2-1.
Well, the quick read on the rule book says, yes, the run does count.
Oh, it does count.
Yeah. According to the rule book, 1 run shall be scored each time a runner legally advances 2 and it touches first, second, third, and home base before 3 men are put out. So just a quick read through this. Let's just put it this way. Until the official scorer takes it off the board, we're going to say it's 13-0.
There we go. 2-2 is the count here. We're going to say Post State is up by at least a dozen, if not the Baker's dozen, as that one's popped up in the infield, and Lincoln Keenels will come to the third base line to make the catch. And there's one down here in the bottom of the third inning. It's such an interesting call because you would think that because he was out on the appeal that the game wouldn't end if that was the game-winning run in the bottom of an inning, as that was a ground ball by Zeman to the shortstop Stout. The throw to first is in time, and there's 2 quickly gone here in the bottom of the third. But you would think, too, that that's not how the game would end if somebody left early.
And again, we'll reset the situation, and we'll take any texts or tweets from any umpires out there. But Post State had runners on second and third with 1 out, fly ball to the outfield. Runners from second and third both tagged, and the runner from third scored, or bases were loaded. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Bases were loaded on a fairly deep fly ball into left center field. Runner from third tags and scores. The runners from first and second tagged and moved up a base. After the play was over, Sioux Falls West appeals at second base. The umpire calls the runner who had moved from second to third out for leaving too early. So the question becomes, does the run count even though the appeal was to second base on the runner leaving early?
Keenels will get a strikeout to end the inning as the throw to first is in time. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Post States, and they have themselves a 12 or 13 run lead. One of the two. Either way, they're up by more than 10 going to the top of the fourth inning. We'll step aside for a minute, come back, and maybe we'll have an answer for you. Listen to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to the top of the fourth inning, and I think we have our answer. Greg Dean, we need. Everybody doesn't really like the umpire that knows every single thing about the rule book, but this is where we need somebody to know everything about the rule book. But we think we found the answer that the run does count, and we almost had the exact situation that we were reading that up on. What's the website?
It's on umpirebible.com, and if you look at it's a blog, and it's a blog post that's titled "Third Out on Appeal, Does the Run Score?" And almost has the exact same scenario that we just witnessed here on the field for Post 8, and according to this blog and the rule book, it looks as though the run does count. It has stayed on the scoreboard here as the run is still posted, and it's still a 13-0 game for Post 8.
So we have a new man on the mound here for Sioux Falls West as the 0-1 pitch is popped up on the mound. So then for the right fielder is going to be Fayok for Sioux Falls West, and he will move into the DH spot for the middle. Fielded by the shortstop in Zeman. The throw to first is in time, and it's 2 quick outs here in the top of the 4th inning. As they'll bring up River Iverson.
We'll quickly recap the pitching lines for Sioux Falls West. Ebeling went 2/3 of an inning, gave up 4 hits, 6 runs, all of them earned 1 walk, no strikeouts. Legg came in relief, went 2 1/3 innings, gave up 7 hits, 7 runs, 5 of them earned, no walks, 1 strikeout. And now Graham Sanders on to pitch here in the top of the 4th for Sioux Falls Post 15 West.
First pitch is upstairs to River Iverson. For ball 1, here is the 1-0. Swing and a miss, now 1-1.
Ebeling with 37 pitches, Legg with 59, and so both of those pitchers are available for Sioux Falls West to come back on Sunday if they are needed.
Here's a ground ball underneath the glove of the third baseman. Long throw from the shortstop Zeman, and it's going to not be in time. And Iverson is on with two away. See what they call that, if it's an error on the third baseman or just an infield hit here for Iverson.
I suspect it's probably an error. It looked like the ball went right underneath the glove of Risovy as he tried to backhand the ball, and it does go down as an error.
So now with 2 away, here is Andrew Coverdale, the number 3 hitter in the order for Post State. Here's the first pitch. That one is over for strike 1. Keno's at 39 pitches right now. And you hope that he can stay efficient through the 4th and 5th inning unless Post State scores 2 more runs here, because then he'd be available for Sunday. As that one's down the right field line, but it'll drift foul. And it's now 0-2.
Yeah, what you'd really like to see is the Eights, even though there are 2 outs, plate these 2 runs, get up by 15, and potentially get out of this game in 4 innings, and again, be able to preserve Lincoln Keenholz's arm so that he might be able to throw on Sunday. Just give Coach White and Coach Nas some options to give to the pitching staff on Sunday.
0-2 is ripped out to left center field. That is down for a base hit. That's going to roll towards the wall out in center field. Stout's going to round third from all the way from first. He will score. Iverson will round third and score from first base. It's now 14-0. And Andrew Coverdale has himself a 4-for-4 day. His first extra base hits in this ball game, but he's driven home his 2nd run. And now with Andy Gordon up to the plate, a base hit could put them up by that magic number 15 here in the top of the 4th inning. First pitch from Sanders. That one's well outside for ball 1.
And again, with 2 outs, Andy Gordon, team leader in RBIs, you got to think the Eights are in a good position to potentially move Coverdale across the plate and possibly end this game.
That one will take a high hop over the shortstop in Zeman and will make the play. It almost hit Coverdale rounding at second base. But the play is made, and Post State will be 1 run short of trying to end this in 4 innings. But they have themselves a good cushion going into the 5th inning and trying to keep this just a 5-inning ball game. 1 run scores in the inning on 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 man left on base. We have played 3.5. Post State's has a 14-0 lead. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. First pitch of the bottom of the fourth inning is fouled straight back to the screen as it's Mitch Willis up to the plate here for for Sioux Falls West.
Just looking at a tweet from Dom Izzo up at WDAY in Fargo that the North Dakota High School Activity Association has signed off on starting fall activities on time. So again, kind of one of the topics of the day is will fall sports take place and will they happen on time? And if that's a signal, that's probably good news for fall athletes here in South Dakota.
That's the one good news we've seen so far, and there hasn't been too many good news in terms of trying to get everything started on time. Count is 3-1 to the number 2 hitter Mitch Willis here in the bottom of the fourth. 14-0 lead for Post State as we play their second game of the day. They'll be off until 6 o'clock Mountain Time tomorrow night. 3-1 is fouled to the third base dugout. Now 3-2. That is, for North Dakota to sign off on that and get things kind of say that they're going to go. And, obviously, we've watched the news. We've seen everything, how it changes within the same day multiple times. 3-2 pitch. That one's lined down the left field line. It'll be foul. But the fact that they've said that is some good news and some hope that maybe South Dakota will be able to follow suit into having the fall sports start on time.
Yeah, we'd seen a tweet earlier in the day that the New York Activity Association had voted to actually delay the start of their fall season till about the 21st of September. So good news for potential for those of us here in South Dakota. Obviously, South Dakota and North Dakota in different situations than New York in this very odd and very strange year that has become 2020.
Ground ball to the shortstop, and Garrett Stout make the play. The leadoff man is retired. Here's Ethan Barron with one down, and Greg Post State sits at 21-13 now in the season. 34 games. This is their 35th game of the season. Back in the middle of April and starting to get towards the beginning of May, to say that there's a chance that this would be that Post State would play at 40 games. I mean, we'll get to game 40, right around game 40 by next week. The fact that we're gonna have up to 40 games, that is, I can't believe it. I'm from where we were in April to the beginning of May. I'm so happy that we've now are playing our 35th game this summer. There's a line shot that'll be fouled, and it's now 0-2 here to Barrett.
Yeah, and again, it was having a conversation with somebody just within the last couple of days, and we were talking about the baseball season and the upside for these young men and baseball fans all across South Dakota is that this has been a relatively normal baseball season for the most part.
As the fly out to left field for Iverson to make the catch, and that'll bring up Dylan Aites, the first baseman.
Yeah, one of the we've not had any issues with South Dakota teams in terms of potential COVID cases. Actually, one caveat to that is Millard West from Omaha was scheduled to be in this tournament, but had a player test positive earlier this week, so they actually backed out of the tournament, and luckily Post 22 was actually able to find the 406 Flyers out of Billings, Montana, who were a late entrant into the tournament, are actually in the same pool with Post State. We'll see them tomorrow.
Count is 1-1 here to the new hitter that is not Dylan Aides up to the plate.
I think that was Aides that was retired last batter on the ground ball to the shortstop.
There's a swing and a miss.
I think this is Hartman, the center fielder.
Oh, I messed up somewhere. Or maybe they messed up because Mitch Willis should have been leading off. Either way, here's the 1-2 pitch to Hartman. Mm-hmm. There's a swing and a miss, and Cardinals will get a 1-2-3 inning. And that will retire the side here in the bottom of the fourth. We have played 4 complete. Post State has a 14-0 lead. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Top of the fifth inning, Post States will have McGuire Rasky, Matt Lusk, and Jack Van Camp 5, 6, and 7 to lead things off for the Eights. And they lead by 14 here in this top of the fifth inning. They can put some more insurance runs on the board as Sanders will throw a ball one to McGuire Rasky. Great, this is the 11th inning that Post State is coming to the plate. They have scored in each of the first 10 innings of this tournament.
Yeah, that's an amazing stat. You just don't see that kind of consistent hitting from any team at any level, and so for Post State to bring their hitting shoes today, I mean that's a big plus for them. And if they can continue that on through the rest of this weekend, especially tomorrow night in that big matchup against Post 22, and if Post State could play the underdog role and potentially come out with a victory in that game, like we talked about earlier, that does a lot for securing a top 4 seat for them going into the playoffs.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Matt Lusk. That one will miss inside, 1-1. Lusk is 1 for 1 for 2. And RBI single in his last at bat back in the top of the third, or that 5-run third inning. There's a swing and a miss, now 1-2. 6 runs in the first, 2 in the second, 5 in the third, and 1 in the fourth, as it's a 14-0 lead for the Eights here in the top of the fifth inning. With 1 down, here's the 1-2 pitch. Has a pop up on the right side. It's going to get out of play, and will land into some empty bleachers. You can see these bleachers be pretty full later on tonight. That one actually goes all the way back into the field of play, and the 2 kids that were chasing after it are absolutely heartbroken. Their heads are down as they're walking back up. I think you make some money on some foul balls here too, just like you do at Hyde Stadium. And so the fact that they don't get to make that money on that one is a little troubling to them. 1-2 pitch, that's foul in the bullpen. They're not going to get a chance at that one either. The dejection of those kids, I feel bad to kind of laugh at it, but I mean they're young kids, and that makes their day. So unfortunately, they didn't get a chance to make any money. This is now 2-2 to Matt Lusk, and the ball went right underneath the fence, and both their heads dropped, and they walked away.
Yeah, if you're hustling out here as a young person, if you get into, and I don't know what the going rate for a foul ball here is at Fitzgerald Stadium. I know we've played in a number of locations where the going rate seems to be $1 a ball anymore, and so you can come out with some pretty good spending money if you're a young person. You got a little bit of hustle to you.
3-2 pitches upstairs, and Matt Lusk will draw a 1-out walk. Now bring up Jack Van Camp, and I'm really disappointed that I always had to go to all my brother's games whenever he was growing up, and I always sit there and I would go chase foul balls, and I made absolutely 0 off those foul balls.
Really?
And yeah, we didn't have that back in the day. Didn't play with the too much of a concession stand that would give you some money. So I just had a lot of exercise.
Wow, good for you. It's probably why you're so trim now.
I don't know about that one, but
it's radio. It's radio.
I appreciate it. That's right. That's why I got in the radio. So the 1-0 is grounded foul. It's now 1-1. I do appreciate the compliment.
Absolutely.
You and Coach Steele are good to me. You give me a lot of compliments. Make me feel a lot better about myself. Either lying to me or just give me compliments. Well, either way, I guess don't tell me the truth on that one. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Jack Van Camp. That one will hit Van Camp, and he throws the bat over the top of his head, and he goes down to first base. There was no movement by anybody until Van Camp flung the bat over the top of his head, and he goes down to first. It's the second time he's been hit by a pitch, and is now first and second with 1 down.
The 6th hit batter of the day for Post State, and Coach White just calling timeout. I just want to make sure that Jack Van Camp's okay. And Coach White takes a couple of steps into fair ground, and Van Camp gives him the thumbs up from over at first base, and we're back in play.
Here's the first pitch to A.J. Gayden. That one is outside for ball 1. He was up to the plates and got a sac fly RBI in the top of the third that we got confused about if it was actually going to stand for a sacrifice fly, as it was Matt Lusk that left early from second base, and he was out on an appeal, but the sac fly stood, and that's why it's a 14-0 lead. The 2-0 pitch. Gayden will reach. He'll pop it up into shallow right field. Going back to second baseman. He'll make the catch, and Willis. And there's now 2 down. And that'll bring up Cade Hinkle. And a run here gives them more insurance runs, but is not going to be a determinant if it's a game over in the fifth inning or not, because it's a 10-run rule after 5 now and 15 after 3. So we've crossed that threshold, and any runs are just bonus and insurance for Keenels to work with in that bottom of the fifth inning.
Just a tough day for Post 15 West. 6 hit batters on the day. They've allowed 14 runs, 13 hits. They've committed 3 errors. Meanwhile, Post 8 working on their second consecutive shutout of the day. No runs allowed through the first 2.
Boy, that was a odd play as Lusk will take a third. Van Camp will go to second. That was a pass ball or a wild pitch that got through, but it hit the lip on the back of the dirt and went right back to the catcher, and he was almost able to throw Lusk out at third, but instead he takes that extra base and is now second and third here with a 1-0 count to Cade Hinkle. From the windup, here is the 1-0 pitch. That one is over for strike 1. And the good news for Sioux Falls West is they have the rest of the day off. They don't have to play the 3:30 game. The Flyers out of Billings, Montana will play against the Shooters next, as it's now 1-2 count to Hinkle. And West will come back tomorrow morning at 10:30 to play a doubleheader against the Shooters in Gillette. So that's their good news, that they will be done after this ball game for the rest of the evening and kind of reset going into tomorrow, as it's now 2-2, which, for Sioux Falls West, we're not going to play them again. Post 8 won't play them in the round, so really everything they do can help out Post 8. 3-2 is popped up on the left side. Is going to stay in play right at the third base dugout, and it's going to hit and go out of play.
Actually hit the support wire, the guy wire that holds up the netting here here at Fitzgerald Stadium, and actually caromed into the seating area. Something you don't see very often. Just perfectly placed foul ball from Cade Hinkle that hits a quarter-inch thick steel wire.
If an inch to the right, probably not even an inch, it's a half an inch to the right, it's a playable ball, as Hinkle now will draw a walk, and the bases are loaded here with 2 down. Because, that would have stayed in play if it didn't hit that wire. And potential play for Rizvi over at third, instead hit the wire and bounce foul. You can't see it. When I'm looking through here, you can't even see the wire. The backdrop and everything, you can't even see that wire. So it looked like it just hit nothing, as Garrett Stout tried to hit a grand slam. He pops it up into shallow right field, and the catch is made by Hartman, the center fielder, to retire the side here in the top of the 5th. No run score. The first time Post 8 has held the scoreboard here today, as they lead 14-0 after 4.5 innings. Lincoln Keenels, he's got 4 runs of air to work with in the bottom of the 5th. Back in a minute. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball. Today is KCCR, and today is KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here at the bottom of the 5th inning, it is going to be 6, 7, and 8. Matt Peters, Connor Rizvi, Graham Sanders to lead things off. Here for Sioux Falls West in the bottom of the 5th inning. First pitch from Lincoln Keenels is missed for ball 1. 55 pitches now for Keenels. If he can be really, really efficient in terms of not throw more than 5 pitches the rest of the way in this ball game, he can be available Sunday. If not, he will have to sit out until they play Mandan on this next Wednesday, I believe it is, the final of 2 doubleheaders to finish out the regular season. It's hard to believe, too, that even though we've had a fun season We're almost to the end of this one. It's now 2-1. We got one tomorrow. Will be a week from tomorrow will be the final regular season doubleheader.
Yeah, hard to believe. And that Mandan game on Wednesday, I'm calling Wednesday caffeine day because 5:30 start to that doubleheader, and then whenever that game gets over, there's a 3.5-hour drive home for the Eights.
That one is over the head of Matt Lusk into deep center field. It's going to be a leadoff double here for Peters. And that is the second hit of the ball game for Post 15 West. And the first extra base hit allowed. Both hits have been doubles. Just 2 extra base hits in the day against Post State. As we play here in the bottom of the fifth. 8-0 win in game 1. There's a 14-0 lead here in game number 2. As Connor Rissovy will hit here with nobody out in the bottom of the fifth. That one's fouled back. And it's 0-1. Post State again will play tomorrow at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock Central Time against the 406 Flyers of Billings, Montana. And then finish the day against the Hard Hats at 8 o'clock. That one will come in and hit Connor Rissovy. And the first 2 men are on base to open up the bottom of the fifth inning. Now bringing Graham Sanders.
Post 15 West needing to score 5, just to stay alive here in the bottom of the fifth. And right now, if you're Post 8, you're very willing to trade outs for runs. Post 15 with runners on first and second, nobody out. But wherever the ball's hit, you aren't really overly concerned about if the runners move up or not as long as you're recording out.
First pitch misses upstairs to Graham Sanders. The 1-0 is fouled back, and it's 1-1. Still got a little bit of a chance of a foul ball up here at some point this weekend.
Yeah, this is a nice setting up here. Right behind home plate. The netting is far enough away from us that any kind of a ball with some air under it has a chance to come back and land right in your mitts.
Count is now 1-2, and don't have a whole lot of. Yeah, there's the overhang is hardly there too. So you stick the arms out and make a catch. Count is 1-2 here to Sanders. Keenol's from the stretch, the 1-2 pitch upstairs, now 2-2.
Again, we talked about the fact that these will be in all likelihood, as far as we know, the last games played here at Fitzgerald Stadium this year before stadium undergoes a $5 million renovation effort to get ready for opening day next year. And from the architectural video that we were looking at in between games, this place will be unrecognizable when you step foot in here next year.
Count is 3-2 here to Graham Sanders. 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and Aquino gets the first out by a strikeout. And there is now one down here in the bottom of the fifth.
We know what a renovation can do for Hyde Stadium, and so it'll be interesting to see what Fitzgerald looks like when you come here next year. 5
strikeouts here for Keenol's in this ball game, one in each of the 5 innings. First pitch to Michael Zeman is taken for strike 1, and it is 0-1. And you know, this the last weekend of Fitzgerald Stadium, and the championship is here at 3:30 Mountain Time on Sunday. And how fun would it be? You know, obviously Post State's got 3 more games to go through here. And how fun would it be to win the championship in the final game of Fitzgerald?
That would be really cool. It'd be kind of a hallmark if you could do that.
1-1 pitch. There's a little floater. That's going to get down for a base hit in the left field. Iverson will bobble. He'll come up with it. The throw will come in to gain the third, and the bases are now loaded here with 1 down to bring up the top of the order for Billy Chatwell. Be followed by Mitch Willis.
Across the parking lot right now over at Pete Lean Field, home field for Rapid City Post 320, Alliance, Nebraska is taking on Sioux Falls East. Following that game, the Post 22 Expos, their junior legion, the Post 22 Junior Legion team, will be playing Miles City, Montana. Following the Post 8 Sioux Falls West game, like you had said earlier, John, the Post 320 Shooters, their Junior Legion team, will be taking on the 406 Flyers.
1-0 pitch to Chatwell. That one misses outside, now 2-0. So still Sioux Falls West sets to score 5 runs here in the bottom of the 5th inning, keep the ball game alive. That 5th run is technically on the on-deck circle. As here's the 2-0 pitch. That one's fouled back to the netting, and it's now 2-1.
Post State playing the infield back again, willing to concede a run on a ground ball if you can get an out any place in the infield. Any ball hit to the middle infield's probably going to go for at least an attempt to turn a double play.
2-1 misses low. Now 3-1. And Keno's obviously with it being have to score 5 runs, and if Keno's is struggling to get out of this inning, you could bring somebody else in, and you just have to keep them under that pitch count so they'd be available for tomorrow. You don't want to burn another pitcher in, when you're up by 14 at this point, and with Keno's now having enough pitches to have to take Friday and Saturday and Sunday off, that you might as well have him throw all 105 pitches. The 3-2 pitch. That one is popped up on the right side. Van Camp will backpedal. He'll get underneath it. He'll make the catch. Run will tag. And the throw coming in, and he will not. He'll have to retreat back to third base. Van Camp fired it in. And we still have a shutout here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Yeah, and probably the kind of play that you try to make when you're up 14-0. And you really don't have anything to lose if the ball – if you don't make the play, you at least recorded the out. There's 2 outs now, and so Jack Van Camp just once he gloved the ball, reared back and let it fly, and Jack's got a really good arm out in right field, kind of what you'd like to see out of a prototypical right fielder, and the runner at third, Peters, got about 3 steps down the line and said, nope, not going to test his arm.
0-1 pitch. There's a ground ball. That's going to be foul over on third base. And Post State a strike away from their second shutout win of the Veterans Classic here in Rapid City. And what a way to kick off a tournament.
And even more important, a big South Dakota Class A win if that's the case.
And there it is. The 0-2 is looked out for a strike 3, and it's a 14-0 win for Post State here in 5 innings. As they sweep the day and they beat Sioux Falls West 14-0 here in 5. Back in 2 minutes to wrap up day 1. Listen to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. Sorry about that. As we welcome you back here to the Fitzgerald, as it is a 14-0 win for the Eights in 5 innings. Post Eights, it goes 2-0 today, and John Winkler alongside Greg Dean, and pitching it was the key for Post State. I guess I should say pitching was the key. They scored 22 runs in 2 games. That's going to help you win a whole lot of ball games as well. Post State came out to play here in these 2 games, all facets of the game.
Yeah, and kind of Garrett Stout set the tone. Lead off at bat with a towering home run over the right field fence, and from there on, it was just everything went right for the Eights. From there on, I had a very solid pitching performance from AJ Gaden in the first game today, and Lincoln Keenholz comes back with a really dominant performance here in game number 2 against Sioux Falls West. 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 78 pitches for Keenholz on the day. But even more important, the biggest stat of the day, a really big win in the standings for Post 8. Will move them to, I believe it is going to have to find it here, but I think they are now, bear with me, puts them to 16-7 on the year versus South Dakota Class A teams. Should at least hold them in 4th place for the near term. But they've got a couple of teams in Harrisburg and Renner that are breathing down their necks. So this is a big win for Post 8.
And now 22-13 on the season for Post 8 after they pick up that win. And they can go back to 10 games over 500 with the win tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening against the 406 Billings Montana Flyers. That is their first game. Then they'll play the 22 Hard Hats at 8 o'clock. That's all local time, so 7 o'clock Central and 9 o'clock, 7 and 9 Central time on Friday for you tomorrow evening. Post State, you can't talk about enough with the 2 pitching performances. You scored in every inning except for 1. That was the top of the 5th when you're already up 14-0. And you hope that this carries into tomorrow and into Sunday and into the rest of the year, because if Post State plays like this and they're capable of playing like this every time they hit the field, they're in for a deep, deep run into this state playoffs.
Yeah, and again, this is a team that's been just a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team in the last week or so, and so good to see them come out and just perform in all facets of the game today, like you had said, John, and so being able to put two dominating wins on the board, I mean that shows that they really have come to play, and like Coach Nas said in the post game after game number 1 today, that the message from the coaching staff was every game from now on out has to be approached as a playoff game, and the boys must have taken that to heart today, and 2 big wins for Post 8.
As that will wrap things up for us here this afternoon from Fitzgerald Stadium. You'll be able to hear Coach White's thoughts in the 5 o'clock sports. We'll have that for you here later on this evening, and we'll talk with Coach Nas again tomorrow in between games, just like we usually do when there's a doubleheader. But Post State wins both games here today. They win 8-0 in game 1, 14-0 in game 2. As that'll wrap things up for us here at the Fitzgerald Stadium in Rapid City. Thanks to Spencer Kelly back at the station. Greg Dean to my left. I'm John Winkler, back on the air around at 6:45 tomorrow evening at Central Time, as Post State will take on the 406 Flyers. As they win here in both games, they win 8-0 over the Post 320 Shooters and 14-0 over Sioux Falls West, as we say goodnight from the Fitz.